You are watching Spatry's Inbox, Episode 3. Today I'm going to cover some improvements that I'm making to the show, and I'm going to answer some of your questions. And all of that begins right now on Spatry's Cup of Linux. Alright, let's begin. Here I am on my happy Manwhore black leather themed desktop. Let me go into my web browser. Alright, if you visit my Dailymotion channel, for those of you watching on Dailymotion, you can now place comments in the requests and questions area. Okay, you just click on that. You can select the Q&A box for your questions, and your suggestions for distro reviews, that sort of thing, can be placed here. If you visit my channel here on YouTube, there is a suggestion box area and a questions and answers area on there. Okay, also, I have done some improvements to cupoflinux.com. I took down my old blogger page because I wanted to have a site that I could, have more control over. There really isn't much here right now. But the thing is, when you do visit the site, if you want to be able to access some of the videos in the playlists, you can access it here by clicking Playlist. And on Playlist here, all of the videos will show up. At least the last 100 videos that I put up on my show. And then, of course, by clicking the I here, you can read the show notes for each of these videos as they're playing. And, of course, a slew of other features such as Watch Later. You have the playlist view. Let me take that out here. Alright, so that is another way to access the playlist view. You can just visit the video on YouTube itself, and you can maximize in full screen. I know I had some people on IRC mention that they would like to be able to sift through the videos, so this is how you would do it on this site. But I need your suggestions on some things to add. Now, I know I'm going to be adding a few things. I'm going to add an About section where I will tell a little bit about myself and what brought me to Linux. I'm also considering adding a shout box. I will have a section of the best of Spatry's Cup of Linux, so you can see some of my personal favorite videos that I put together for you guys' enjoyment. So you'll be able to check that out. And I've also considered the possibility of putting up a forum. The problem is I really don't have that much time to moderate it, but this would be a great place for you guys to interact with me. You could place posts, talk about Linux in general, maybe post your questions and have the community answer them, and that sort of thing. Maybe a few little off-topic things. So if you think you would like to see a forum, and you may even be interested in moderating, please let me know in the space below. Now let's move on to our questions. Okay, the first one comes from Aaron Zakharov, and he asks, how about using Blip TV for your show? I'm fairly certain they have comment moderation. Well, again, I've stated this before in one of my videos somewhere. I will eventually expand to Blip TV, Vimeo, and a number of others once I've built up my Dailymotion channel. That's something I will eventually look into again. So yeah, good question. Our next question comes from T.S. Me Wallace. Hey Spat, could you do a video on optimizing Manwhore for gaming? I got the specs, but the OS is not holding up well. Thanks. Okay, this is something that could involve just a wee bit of sleight-of-hand trickery. Well, not really. Let's go back to my web browser here. The first thing you're going to do is you need to visit the Manwhore Linux wiki. Okay, and in the wiki here, you will need to navigate to where it says hardware. And under the Manwhore hardware detection tool, you will need to go to the section titled Configure Your Graphics Card. Scroll down to where you see the section that says Automated Identification and Installation. You may want to read through this though. Lots of really good information on this page. Okay, and this is what I did to get my proprietary graphic driver installed. I just issued this simple command, sudo Manwhore Hardware Detection Tool, or MHWD TAC-A, PCI non-free 0300. It detected my catalyst, the driver that my Radeon built-in card needs. It set it up for me, and it is flawless. And every time I upgrade my kernel using the Manwhore Hardware Detection Tool, it automatically updates the graphics driver, my Broadcom driver. It does everything. I mean, it is the most trouble-free Arch-based Linux system I have ever used. Absolutely amazing stuff. And the way Manwhore is set up, it should be perfect for gaming. I have Steam installed, and it runs all of my games like a champ. So you can try this command and see if that works for you, and if it doesn't, you may need to go into the instructions for manual identification and installation. This wiki is very well written out, so you shouldn't have any trouble getting that working for you. I hope that answers your question. Our next question comes from Martin Monterosa. And he says, "Hey Spat, in your K-Win video of Manwhore Mania, you show us that your panel has a theme of your window manager. I would like to know if there is any tutorial about that, or if you could make one." Alright, well, this is really simple to do. Alright, basically what I did was I went into my KDE theme folder for Decorator. Alright, and I took all the images and I copied them to a folder that I could use for later. Alright, and I just made a temporary directory in my pictures folder. Okay, first, you're going to open up your graphic editor of choice. You can use the GIMP, which is free and open source. I don't use the GIMP, so unfortunately I can't make a demonstration for you using that, but I can make a demonstration using the software that I use regularly, and this is Macromedia Fireworks 8. And I know this program is a little old, but it is comprehensive, and it has given me years of great use, and I'm going to continue using it because it does everything that I need it to. But essentially what I did was I just went File and then created a new document. Okay, now the width of my screen is 1600 pixels. Okay, and then the height of my panel is 30 pixels high. I'm going to go ahead and make that a transparent new document. Now I need to open the images that make up the elements in the panel. Okay, and here they are. Now, you will see I have these elements, and now I can start positioning these where I want them. So first, let's grab this image here. I'm going to right-click and copy this, and then go into my untitled bitmap, right-click and paste this image. I'm not going to resample that. Alright, now we can zoom in. Okay, and it doesn't quite fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an automation, and I'm going to have this match the height of the canvas. Okay? And so now I can reuse this image over by copying and pasting. Okay, and then maybe I want to have that left icon here. Right click, copy this. Okay, edit paste. I'm not going to resample that. I'm going to move this here. I am going to have it match the height of the canvas. Alright, and then I'm going to position this accordingly. Maybe I need to nudge that down just a hair, and sometimes zooming in really close helps out as well. But basically you get the idea. And then once you've created that panel, then you just right click on your panel, go into panel preferences, go into the appearance, okay, and then choose the image that you save this to, and I called this Titan 5 panel. Okay, but you can name it to anything you want, and that's all there is to it. Very simple, very easy. But the thing is, if you're going to create a panel decoration that has transparency, make sure that you have compositing enabled, or else it isn't going to look very good. Okay, Caffelator wanted to know, hey Spat, I have a problem I can't solve. I did this question about a month ago, but I could not see your answer. I use Ubuntu 12.04 and the fan is always on. The CPU temperature stays at about 63 centigrade. Couldn't you put that in Fahrenheit? I'm just kidding. Okay, when the CPU is not running. They say that Linux has problems with the last CPU generation on notebooks. I have an Asus Intel Core i7 blah blah blah. On Windows, no problems. The fan's slow. Is there a Linux solution for a noisy fan? I have not owned Intel products in over 10 years, and I probably won't be buying one. I prefer the AMD products for their value, and I happen to like how well they perform. And that's just a personal preference for me. But I'll tell you what, on my last notebook that I had, fan noise was a serious issue. If you watch some of my earlier videos, you'll hear background noise and that sort of thing, and that was because of the fan on the notebook. And there was nothing I could do about it, and I did a little bit of research and I found that having a can of compressed air is your friend. Let me explain that smoking is an enemy for electronics because, you know, if you smoke cigarettes or cigars or anything like that, the tars get up in the air and it just sticks to things, okay? And dust sticks to that tar and everything as well. So you don't want to smoke around any computer components. And I'm not saying that you do. But also, dust is an enemy as well. Now, I fixed my loud, noisy fan problem by buying a can of compressed air. I shut off my computer and then just flipped it over and took the compressed air and just blew through the intakes and the outtakes in both directions, and I was amazed to see that I had a cloud of smoke collecting up in there. And once I restarted the computer, I found that it was a lot quieter. Another thing you can possibly do is look into CPU scaling programs. You can also look into power management programs like Jupyter. Those may help you with that problem of having an overheating CPU. I hope that answers your question. Our next question, Ty Young wanted to know, hey Spat, I was wondering if you knew what else is needed to run Windows apps within Ubuntu besides what Wine comes with, because when I try to launch the app, I get some type of failed to launch application error. Okay, let's go back to my trusty web browser here, and this time we're going to go to the Makulu Linux website. That is makululinux.com. Let me zoom in so you can see that, Ty. Okay, /download.htm. Okay, now what you can do is you can go over here and download their wine full. And what it is their own custom wine bottle that they've prepared for you that you can extract into your home folder, okay? And what I mean by extract to your home folder, let me pull out my pull out Dolphin here and let's navigate to your home folder. Control H will unhide hidden directories, okay? And what you will do is, if you have a .wine directory, you will need to delete that and then extract that folder into your home directory so that it will be your new .wine configuration. And then this has pretty much everything you're going to need to get most of your favorite Windows applications and games installed already. I tried this myself. It's pretty neat. It comes with DirectX pre-installed. It has the Net Frameworks preloaded into it, MSXML, and runtime environments 2003 to 2010. Now, Wine does not run everything though, okay? So what you're going to need to do is, if there is an application, you're going to need to read the system requirements for that application. It may say it needs VC runtimes. It may need OpenAL. It may need a few other different things installed. So you need to read what those dependencies are and make sure that you have them installed and then try and run that application. And that is no guarantee that you will be able to get it to work. Another option is, if you want to get that application running properly, you need to go and make winehq.org your friend. And on this website here, you can search for that application you want to run and then find instructions or tips other people have used to get that working. Steve Philmon wants to ask, what is your favorite OS to learn command shell fluency? Well, Steve, any Linux distribution could be used to learn command line fluency. A Google search for Linux commands everyone should know will bring you a bunch of pages of information here, and I highly recommend that you check these out. This one here, Useful Linux Commands Everyone Should Know, has a huge page full of stuff, so you may want to take down some notes of some of the things that these do. And I mean, while this list is in no ways definitive, it will give you an idea of some of the things that you can do. And as I'm scrolling through here, you know, I'm seeing a number of commands that are familiar to me, like mplayer. I use mplayer myself, and I've used mplayer to actually convert and show 3D videos in real time in anaglyphs so I can watch them on my regular television. So, I mean, there's really cool things here. You know, it's giving you some information on you using the dd command so that you can transfer images, or you can categorize things. So this is really, really good stuff here. Now, I don't have myself buried in the terminal, and I don't issue commands into it to do everything. I do most things through a graphical user interface, but there's a lot of things that I still do from a terminal, such as running some terminal-based applications, like, for instance, Alsamixer. I run that. I also run FFmpeg through the terminal, and that sort of thing. So having a terminal is useful. I also run Yowert, and I also install packages and upgrade my system through the terminal rather than using Manwhore's GUI, because, well, I think the terminal is a lot easier for me to use. I happen to like it that way, so that's always a good thing. And of course, while we're on the topic of Manwhore, I think Manwhore is the best Linux distribution out there that I've personally tried. I think it's great for beginners. They have excellent support on IRC, and the nice thing, because they have GUI applications and utilities available, this makes it easy for end users who really don't want to really pick up the terminal at first. They just want a GUI to do everything, and Manwhore will allow you to do that. Plus, it has really nice theming possibilities, as you can see what I've done here on my desktop. Some really nice stuff indeed. I even figured out a way to reduce the size of my window borders and make them almost invisible to a degree. Well, there's a tiny little bit of a border. You can barely see it, which will allow me to drag my windows around. I've been trying to figure out a way to actually just remove the borders altogether and still be able to have that flexibility, but I haven't figured out how to do that just yet. But once I do, I'll show you how to do it. All right, well, that's all I have. As a reminder, please consider supporting the show hosts who deliver the content you enjoy the most by disabling your ad blockers or shouting them a few coins. Also, be sure to visit cupoflinux.com and be sure to give me any ideas of things you would like to see on the website. Peace out.